originally in Spanish.
Some people say that the ETs come here for the resources.
They can also go to Er, also to Temer, to Procyon, to Cendril, to Pitoya, to Alfrata, and so on. That is geo-Earth centrism, humanity's ego. Earth is beautiful, but it is not the only one. People believe that the ETs desire Earth because it is an orchard of life, and that the other planets here are not. That's not what happens here. What they want is the people themselves. Okay, also Earth, but for interstellar beings, whether the Earth or some M-class planet is in Alpha Centauri, or in the Hyades at 60 light years, or in Canis Minor, doesn't matter, because in hyperspace, the way all the ETs move, no distances are observed. And the reasons why the ETs are interested in Earth are not that. They are interested in Earth because they are themselves there. They are family. They are themselves in other timelines, mirrors, incarnated friends. The motives are personal. Again, human mentality shows here, thinking in resources as limited, as in riches, not in spirit, not in life, not in consciousness. That's why we, or other ETs, are interested in Earth.
And what would the ETs want the people themselves for? As energetic slaves?
From the simplest explanation point of view, yes, for energetic exploitation, because they need it to exist, because those beings and entities are egregores of humanity itself. They eat creative, concentrated attention of the kind that is generated by fear. Although I know that this reason escapes the simple minds that think in a human way, that what matters are the tangible material resources. Simply because there is too much out there to mine from, that is not the reason. The fact that they see that as the reason why Earth is desired is a reflection of their own lack mentality, which is the mentality experienced on Earth. Out here, materially, there is little or no lack. What is of interest are the matters of consciousness, manifestation of realities, and control over those two things. For example, do you want gold? Asteroid belt. You want water? Asteroid belt. Rare foreign matter, chemical elements, asteroid belt. And if they have enough technology, they can have matter, element, or material they want with a replicator. That's not what's desired here. It is something else more complex.
And why control over that? Does it bring any benefit?
It means everything. Control over what you will experience as a race, as a species, and culture, their future, what they can call their reality. That is what they get as a benefit. The fact that it is believed that spirituality and matters of consciousness are poor or little reason to generate so much interest on the part of extraterrestrials, generalizing, is again a reflection of the same human mentality that the benefits must be in material things or power, which boils down to control over resources, energetic or material again, because that is what is coveted on Earth. However, as an interstellar culture, any race advanced enough to navigate among the stars will have more than enough resources as such. What they will be interested in is control over reality itself. Spirituality on Earth is a topic as an aid to cope with the harshness of life, as a defense mechanism against the difficulties of being alive. This is reflected even in the most advanced religions that almost tell it like it is, like the Buddhist one, and even that is based on the concept of being able to face life wisely and not have it destroy you in the process. But here, among the extraterrestrials, spirituality is much stronger and more defined, remaining not only as a crutch to survive, as a defense mechanism, but it is also the very basis of everything there is and everything that is desired. So with a certain level of technological advancement, enough to navigate the stars, coupled with a sufficiently high level of consciousness, the real resources you want to obtain are not material, but are those of the very manipulation of densities and existential realities. You have to think like an ET to understand their true intentions for and with Earth. Your gold, your minerals, or your water are little to advanced ET races. They are respected, but they're not something to covet. In other ufological circles on Earth, there is talk that what the ETs are interested in is DNA. This is partly true and is a step closer to the truth than thinking about mere physical resources. But one has to look a little further, being that the advanced ET knows that DNA is only the physical reflection of the manifestation of the memory that makes up what characterizes and defines soul attention consciousness attached to that DNA. Now going back to the topic of controlling material resources on Earth. This part is also valid, because this is a very complex dynamic what happens around the Earth, being that the difference between the ETs and humans are not so defined. It is a gray and blurred border that separates ET from human. So yes, there are levels or parts, whether human or semi-human, working on Earth that do wish to dominate the physical and energetic resources of the planet. However, that does not reflect the mentality of the full extraterrestrials who are not on Earth in human form. It does not reflect the extraterrestrial culture as such, and what defines it among cooperative races or species. Because the border between ET and human is gray, and from the ground level, it is easy to confuse the interests of humans with power, cabal enterprises, with the interests of truly non-human extraterrestrial races. It's just, again, depends on the level of entities we're talking about.
Yes, it is very clear.
However, even as an ET myself, I can only see my world, what surrounds me, at the limit of my understanding, like everyone else. However, my point of attention, yes, it is from the outside, so for what's worth, I'm reflecting or sharing another angle of the same problem. Again, on the idea that extraterrestrials wish to dominate Earth's resources and energy as a reflection of the human mindset that observes the issue, it is valid, but they confuse the resource and energy domination interests of the cabal corporations and hybrids on Earth with the interests of fully interstellar ETs with such levels of technology that they already master the power to extract matter from energy. This is an important point to understand.
But most, if not all Federation members here would agree with you, wouldn't they? About what you've stated above.
Local Federation members and advanced races, the known ones, yes, they would agree with me. What I have just said is not only my personal opinion, but I am giving it based on what I have observed and understood by living with the rest of civilizations and friendly races with which mine maintains cordial and friendly relations.
Okay, Aneeka, when you talk about hybrids on Earth, they are human beings in biological suits with any type of beings inside, right? Those are hybrids. It's just that people consider it differently.
The term hybrid is very broad. A hybrid could be anything from a starseed that has completely human body, of those that do not change if they're extracted. For example, Suriko for not going further. Or also entities or technologically altered bodies splicing genes of a non-human race with the human one. Or the result of a natural cross between a humanoid species genetically compatible with a human and a terrestrial human person, such as the Alfratans, among others. All of what would include hybrids as a broad term.
But not a hybrid between a lizard and a human. Those cannot reproduce, and, as we've already said, species are not created that way. And if they were created like the Maitre, they would have to reproduce artificially, right?
Yes, or they would have limited reproduction. This also gets worse because the one who genetically creates a hybrid also wants to control its reproduction. All this is already explained in our articles about DNA.
And another thing, those ETs that are interested in resources are human creations? Just to clarify, I would say yes.
Yes, or they are subject to the same problems as human being, part of the same Earth dynamic, like the interterrestrial reptilian races that reflect on the outside with treaties with cabal world leaders. This level does wish to control material and energy resources as well as the human mind. But even though they're not human per se, they still have the same human mentality because they're subject to the same existential dynamics. However, this does not reflect the mentality of off-Earth ETs with high technological level. And the level of such high technological advancement is measured by two things: their efficiency in their interstellar capability, and their ability to generate any material or physical element from energy. If you observe carefully the consequences of these two previous points, you will be able to understand that both result in them not being interested in the material and energetic resources of a given planet, in this case the Earth, because they have already mastered and solved that, being that only a reduced group with low technology would be interested in the resources as such of the Earth. And they're interested in Earth-specific resources because it reflects the fact that they are Earth-dependent or Earth-confined. So this is yet another argument for understanding that extraterrestrial civilizations with a certain high level of advancement are not interested in material or energetic resources of any given planet, but in the consciousness and spiritual implications of those planets. The technological level of any interstellar race or advanced species depends on its population. It is a direct reflection of the spiritual and consciousness level of such people. So all desires for domination over material and energy resources are still motivations that come from those on Earth. It is still a direct reflection of the Earth mentality. In fact, on Earth, the materialistic side has supremacy for many reasons, and there is lack of contact with the spiritual side, because it is not useful for the primordial reason that is survival. That is the key. The materialism promotes survival there, leaving the spiritual as a secondary luxury. But the key is to balance both sides, or to have the spiritual base first without leaving aside the material survival. Basically, they make a good argument that the ETs want to exploit humanity for resources and power. But it is not just that. There are levels here, and that's just a low level. Besides that, there are other levels which I explained above.
Hi, Athena. Could you elaborate a bit on this part? Something Aneeka said above. She said, out here, in terms of the material stuff, there is little or no lack. What is of interest is what can be found in the matter of consciousness, manifestation of realities, and control over those two things. Manifestation of realities? Realities are also manifested and controlled up there. Why be interested in Earth for that? Because Earth is not independent and never has been. It is just one of those many realities that are created from up here and above. I guess what Aneeka meant is that spiritual advancement will give souls, for lack of a better name, more control over what they will manifest and experience in their next lives. But that's the point. If it is only one of many realities where you manifest and control realities, why so much interest in Earth? I think you are just looking at the interest that happens to be shown for Earth and not the interest that is shown for all the other places. It's just that there is attention here from you and from this group. Oh, I understand. So there is also the interest for other places as well. Yes, some more than others, but that's huge and subjective. Look at it as a mall. Earth is full of activity, for better and for worse, controversy and strife. But there are other malls full of people, similar and not so similar, also boiling with activity. Yes, but I still don't understand why they are interested in Earth for manifesting realities. Why not go to other planets or their own for that? You can manifest realities anywhere, Earth or not, right? I can be on Erra and manifesting realities. Looking at it from the point of view of the spiritual advancement that you have by having incarnated on earth as a school for souls. As has been said before, as a school to advance with those experiences. As there is a greater expansion of consciousness, later on, outside of the terrestrial incarnation, you will have greater control over what you wish to experience and what worlds to create. But I should also clarify that it is not just about those who incarnate on earth as such. It is not something defined and rigid, but there is a whole range of in-betweens, from complete aliens, strange ones on distant planets that have nothing to do with Earth, to entire classical humans, if there is such a thing, being that everything is ultimately connected, of course. The terrestrial experience, or the experience Earth offers, is not only for those who incarnate as humans. It is also for others as role play. Humans as such are not just one thing either. As already stated, there are starseeds of countless races, some similar, some not. Old souls who have incarnated as humans for countless lifetimes. ETs who go in there without memory only once or twice or a few times. Others complete ETs who are just visiting or who move there knowing what they are, as step-downs, but who dress and act normal and pass for humans, not being human. The list is very long, and the variants of having a human experience are many, and I am only talking about the level of human experience. It would also be necessary to add the experience that the earth gives to the souls, to the people, who get involved with matters of the earth without being human. The experience of the extraterrestrials that have their attention there, with all their variables and variants, races and ideologies. All of that is what Earth offers, as role-playing, as seen from the high densities, of course, where someone non-human plays being a guide for humanity in countless ways, and others not so much, with a whole complex range and gradient in between. This is an important point that my mom always stresses to me about humanity, about being able to explain these kinds of concepts. As it turns out, the average human mind, the people, the bulk of the population, don't handle complex things well. They always want the simple, for everything to have one reason, not many, that things be clear, not to need a lot of mental resources and power to understand things. So they regard long and complicated explanations as coming from someone who doesn't know, and they hang labels on them of being far-fetched explanations or pilgrim explanations. But the truth is that there is no absolute truth. Everything is relative. To understand one thing, you need a framework of understanding of all kinds beforehand, which gives you a necessary framework so that from there you can understand more complicated things and concepts. There is no single reason for anything. Everything is extremely complex, And if you want to impose a simple explanation, you fall into reductionism, like the Big Bang. That never happened, whether or not it is mathematically feasible, which by the way it is not, leaving only religion imposing their concept on science, the Yahweh or creator explosion. But in short, the earth gives the souls, its own and others, an enormous variety of enriching experiences with which to increase and boost their spiritual advancement, that from then on will manifest better things.
Thank you, incredible. I understand. Question to what you said above. Many starseeds, humans, want to leave the Earth because they see living here as hell. But you say that there are step-downs with full memory that move in here? What are they so interested in here? Cultural variety? I'm talking about the ones that are not guides or anything in particular. The step-downs who know what they are. Their souls no longer take from this experience the same as humans. Why do they move then?
They don't get the same experience, but they get other experiences.
Like what? Cultural experiences? Like when I travel to the Amazons?
As I said above, it is never all or nothing, but all the gradient that the earth offers. Each and every person will have a different reason. Why does an English lord go to India at the end of the 19th century? He was in England with money and position, big house and luxury carriages. He goes for the experience of something exotic, for the adventure, and for his need to return to brag to his friends that he was there and touched a tiger or what have you. Same here.
Yes, I understand. So, with all that explained, it's clear that nobody out there would be interested in the Earth becoming interstellar. They would lose what the Earth offers now.
Very good point. Yes, exactly. And unfortunately, it's a jungle. It's India in the 19th century. As with going to India back then, you go there because there are elephants and jungles full of tigers.
Then why did the First Contact project even exist? Why were they even assessing if humans were ready for open contact before? It would ruin everything if direct official contact was made. That would ruin the Earth experience.
That is the argument of many here. That's what they say, that we are wasting our time. What are you doing this for, they say. My answer would be, because we also want the experience of trying to help. Ultimately, because it is another experience for those who are here. If they don't like it, they can go back to Temer to do what they want. It is another set of experiences that you have during a lifetime and or incarnation. So I am telling you, Earth is not only what it offers as a place to incarnate as a human, but there are all the other variants of interaction and experiences that the place offers to non-humans and humans alike as well.